Okay, so we're going to take a look at how to create a simple function, just as a refresher for those of you who might be feeling a little bit lost with that. So we'll do the first exercise from the functions worksheet that I set last week. And the task for that, let's just write it in here, we'll put it as a comment, is add 3 to n and return the result. Okay, just about the simplest function that you can write, really. And I've put it obviously between the module 1 and submain. It's not going to be part of submain because we're going to create a new function. So all the functions have to be inside the module. So let's create the function, and we do that with the function keyword, function, and we will call this add3. The worksheet actually says that's what it should be called, and it takes a parameter n, which has type integer, and it also has a return type. And we'll take another look at that in a second, but for now we're going to write as integer. Now this was all given as the function header in the worksheet task, so that's just a question of copying, but we'll look at what it actually does. Okay, so we've got our function header. Now it's underlining this in red because it says end function expected, because we started a function, we have not ended it, so let's just do that. So there we go, function end function, and then it's going to get rid of that in a second. By the way, I'm doing this in .NET Fiddle, but it works just the same in Visual Studio. I'm just doing it in .NET Fiddle as a sort of leveling thing so that everybody's on the same level playing field. Even if you can't start Visual Studio, you should be able to use .NET Fiddle here. It just runs in the browser. Okay, so we've got our function. It passes a parameter called n, and that parameter is an integer, and we want to add 3 to that integer and return the result. And at the moment, we can see that the end function line here has got a little warning, and that warning is that we aren't returning anything, because every function, let me just mouse over so you can see it, says function add3 doesn't return a value on all code paths. Are you missing a return statement? Well, yes, we absolutely are. Every function has to make sure it always returns a value, so we want to return something. Let's return a variable called answer. We won't worry about what answer is just yet. Okay, so we're returning answer. Now it's going to complain that we haven't declared answer, so let's do that. So we'll dim answer as integer. Oops, integer. And then we want answer to be equal to n plus 3. So we just say answer equals n plus 3. And that's all we need. So let's just have a look at what happens when the function runs. So it's passed in a value which gets stored in the integer, in the parameter n, and then we declare a variable and we set that to be equal to n plus 3, and then we return that value. And so down here at the moment our program is just saying hello world, but I'm going to change it so that instead of printing hello world, it's going to print out a sum and give the answer. So it will say 12 plus 3 equals. Okay, so that's printing out literally that text as the sum. But the answer, instead of calculating it here, I'm going to use my add3 function. So I'm going to call add3, and I'm going to pass the value 12. So what that's doing is it's calling the add3 function with 12 as the parameter. So then when we get to this line here, it says, okay, add3 is a function. It will jump up to the top where the add3 function is declared. It will set the value of n to the value that we passed, which is 12. So n becomes 12. And then answer is n plus 3, so 12 plus 3. So answer becomes 15, and it will return that value 15. So when we execute this line here, when it returns, the add3 function is equal to the value 15. It is as if we just typed 15 in there. It's sort of like a variable, but instead of being a variable where it just stores a value, it's a variable that calculates the value. You can think of a function like that. And let's go back to this part here where it says as integer. So that's just telling Visual Basic what the return type of the function will be. So this is a function that takes an integer, but it also returns an integer. So the function as a whole, the part we're declaring here, has a type which is the type of the data that it will return, in this case integer. So when I run it, we should expect to see the value 15 here there. So it says 12 plus 3 equals 15. But I could change it to something else. I could say 12 plus, let's say 8 plus 3. So instead of passing 12, we pass 8. And there it goes. And we could put this in a loop as well. We could say for I equals 1 to 10, let's say. And I and 3 equals and 3i. So now what happens is every time the loop runs round, and this isn't part of the exercise, I'm just showing you for just for funsies. Now, every time the loop runs round, I will change value from starting at 1 going up to 10, and it will print out that number on the first pass. It'll be 1 plus 3 equals, and then it passes that 1 to our add3 module, adds 3 to it, and comes back with the answer. So we should see 10 sums in a row printed out. There we go. 1 plus 3 equals 4, 2 plus 3 equals 5, and so on. And so each time the new value of our variable I gets passed as the parameter to add 3, so that it adds 3 onto it and returns the result. And that's just how you create a very, very simple function. So using this example, hopefully you'll be able to see how to do questions 2 and 3. They are basically the same. Question 4 is a little bit trickier, only in the sense that you need to get some user input, and so it goes. They're designed to get slightly harder as you go on, but they should still all be quite straightforward.